Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Mountaineers Now postgame show presented by Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning. Take me home to comfort. I'm Schuyler, and live from the WVU Coliseum. Way up there up at the top is Christopher Hall. West Virginia falling on senior night, 93 to 81. We're going to dive into our thoughts on this one here in a bit, but as we always kick the show off here with a look at the numbers, Jesse Edwards, an incredible night offensively when there was live action. He had 36 points and 13 boards. However, it was not the best of nights for him at the charity stripe. It's kind of weird to really talk about this game and kind of blame it on Jesse because of the game that he had, but those free throws really killed West Virginia. Raekwon Battle had 13 points, was only 3 of 9 from the field, had 1 rebound, 1 assist. Emmanuel Miller had 21 for TCU. West Virginia is much more competitive on the glass and in the paint in this one. 27 to 28 was the rebounding, 48 to 34 in favor of the Mountaineers, scoring inside a stark contrast from what it was in Fort Worth last month. But this one was ugly almost from the get-go, Chris, and I was kind of surprised by this because of it being senior night. TCU has not won here before. It's been a house of horrors for them, and let's face it, they're kind of scuffling a little bit. They've been a hot and cold team all Big 12 play long, but I didn't see this coming. I really did.
Yeah, I figured West Virginia played better defensively tonight. Since it BC night, I thought they tried to grind out one final win at home, but same story, different game. Could have cut me up from the last 3 games, and you could have had pretty much the same analysis. They just don't play defense.
Yeah.
It's just I don't understand how sometimes they just get worse, but they don't close out. They don't know how to play man to man, one-on-one isolation defense. They don't react. That's same story. A lot of these kids just haven't had to play defense. You look at Raekwon, where he came from, the league that he comes from, their third or fourth option isn't very good offensively. You don't have to worry about defense. In a league like this, everybody can score. Allard even mentioned post game, like you don't give them dare shots at this level. These are Division I players at the highest level, and they're open. They're going to make it. And TCU's not even a good 3-point shooting team, but they were open a lot. So if you leave them open and they make some of those tough shots, just like they did down the stretch, those become, highlighted because they become backbreakers because you gave them so many other easy looks. Of course, once in a while they're going to hit tough shots. So when they get so many easy looks and you play the percentages on contested shots and they hit ones that are daggers, let's just play defense. Offensively, they're fine. Turnovers are an issue. They were an issue again in the first half. That's kind of been the theme on the back end of the schedule. Just one half of really poor turnovers, and they did it again tonight with 9. And some of them are just really bad turnovers that lead to open buckets on the other end. And they got that a lot the first half. They really helped build that lead. But aside from, I think where they started like 7-11 or something like that from 3-point range. So give them open looks. They're going to make you pay. And TCU did. That's not a very good TCU team. And you can make an argument that I don't even know if you can make an argument. That's probably the worst Jamie Dixon led defense he's ever had. Like that, they are just really bad defensively.
Yeah.
But West Virginia is worse. So I mean, it's not funny, but it is in a sense that they are just so bad defensively. It's frustrating to watch because they can put it in the bucket. Jesse, good game for him. Don't want to diminish it, but that's next. TCU doesn't really have a big man. So it was almost like TCU was just like let Jesse score because they weren't even guarding him in the first.
And they were going to they were physical with him too. If he wasn't scoring, he was getting sent to the line, and that's a win-win.
They were just out of position. I don't even know I don't know what their game plan with Jesse was, but they were not around him at all. So I don't know if it was just get under him.
They had like 5 alley-oops from Kerr to Jesse.
Like I don't know what the philosophy was on Jesse Edwards, but it was bad. Maybe they just don't know how to play defense there, which again, weird for a Jamie Dixon team.
So the last 3 games, you're talking about the defense, and I'm an offensive-minded person in pretty much every sport, but you look at the defense, they gave up 93 tonight, 81 on Saturday against Texas Tech. They gave up 81 in regulation before or in that game against Kansas State on the road. And that's coming off of two games in which they look like I don't want to say they started solving some of those issues, but they look much better. I mean, they only gave up 67 to UCF. They gave up 71 to Iowa State. I mean, I don't know what happened between those two games and these last three that it's just all falling apart for them. I mean, to me, I think it's really the physicality. And I don't know, and TCU is not the most physical team out there by any means or any stretch of the imagination, but it's like this team just gets bullied every single night in the paint. And it wasn't the case tonight, but I just think physicality is something this team's got to, and it's not so much just in the paint, it's just stopping the ball. It's just not letting fast breaks kill you every single night. And I think that's something that they have not taken pride in all season.
Transition defense has been bad all year, but really it's teams that move the ball really well is where they've gotten behind, and that's
Yeah.
why they've gotten a lot of downhill looks. You do those curls, do kind of those chase screens, and they really get you from behind. And a lot of some of it's communication, some of it's uh, the guy that's kind of guarding the screen or guarding the screener needs to come off and just bump him a little bit. A lot easier said than done, especially the way college basketball is called officiated nowadays. But you still got to kind of stretch it out so your guy can recover, and they're just not good at it. It doesn't seem like they understand it, and they get a lot of these guys not to play defense. Jesse Edward played 2-3 zone at Syracuse. He didn't have to do a lot of that. He wasn't out there guarding ball screen. So a lot of guys doing things for the first time, just never really got the hang of it. And then you kind of can start overthinking it, and it slows you down even more. So a lot of times they're just chasing guys. That's how a lot of the teams that they play are just able to get downhill because they're just chasing from behind, and it's just uh, don't want to say fundamentals because it's not really something that's fundamental, but you can just move your feet, get your feet under you, and keep it good base so you don't get that foul call. But again, it's a lot easier said than done the way that these games are called nowadays. A little bump anywhere is a foul, and you get called early, and that gets in your head as well. So a year together where they can communicate, whether the dozen of things that happened with injuries and suspensions, everything that kind of went on. This team was together this off season. Yeah, of course, all these kids would have about 6 years of eligibility at that point, but a season together where they can understand the defense and see the video a year together would make a huge difference going into year two. We always talked about it under Huggins, like wait until their second year when they kind of figure it out.
Right.
You kind of see that everywhere nowadays where there's so much change that some teams get better as the year goes along. Some teams just don't because it just never clicks for whatever reason. So defense is pretty bad everywhere. And this was a really bad defensive game tonight for both teams. And officiating was just so bad on both ends of the floor.
West Virginia's in the double bonus at what, the 9.5 minute
It
mark?
was so bad. It wasn't one sided. I mean, I'm sure one team may have got
Yeah.
a little a better call here and there, but
The block that Raekwon Battle had, I mean,
well, they called a foul on TCU when Jesse Edwards went up. The kid was straight up. Kid, I don't know, probably 5'10", didn't even touch him, and they called a foul on the kid. Like it was so
yeah.
bad. Like there were just so many bad calls like that where it's just like, how do you even call that a foul? That doesn't make any sense. So
And
there's a ton of
we could have
uh,
a full episode dedicated to how bad
they
college
really.
football
I
is.
mean, I urge fans from everywhere. There needs to be a petition. Everyone needs to start writing NCAA letters, emails, go back to the basic rules because they are putting these officials in some really bad positions. The flagrant foul and no effect. Like we're at a point where if you go to foul to stop a ball, it's flagrant foul. Like
Yeah.
it's so bad at this point. We just needed a running clock at one point in this game, and they wanted to call flagrant foul. Like, what are you doing? Like that is not a flagrant foul. That's just a horrendous call. But it is what it is. They got to do something about the rules. They just changed the rules where it's so much offense that it really is hard to play defense. You can watch around the country. The teams that are successful have
If
extremely good athletes, and those are the teams that are going to win because they're extremely athletic. And it really puts the majority of these programs around the country in a bind.
Yeah, I mean, if I know people talk about all the time, like bringing Press Virginia back, and I get, with Huggins not being here,
Can't
that's not really a
you
thing. But
can't.
there's no way you could play that style now. You would
No,
be
there's
in the
nobody
double
playing full
bonus with
court right now.
15 minutes to go.
There's no hell for 40 minutes. There's no
No,
press for being anywhere. There's no full court press because any bump can be called a foul and it's
yeah,
not consistent. So there's we could go on about it, and I have a whole theory. If you go back to the Tim Donaghy of the NBA referee that was caught gambling, the biggest line that stuck out to me was he was betting on games on how the NBA wanted the game officiated that night. And if you don't think these conferences around the country aren't doing the same thing, makes sense why it's so inconsistent. So it's bad. They need
we
to
have
do something
sparked
about it.
some controversy
It's
here.
bad. Like watch around college basketball. It is really, really bad.
So I think offensively for them tonight, I mean, they did score 81, but there's still a lot of points left out there, I think, for them. Like Quinn Slazinski took multiple contested shots, heavily contested. He's not the only culprit, but it was the same thing. Not enough ball movement. Raekwon Battle, he's got to start. I mean, I know he's here to score the ball. I get that. But he's got to swing it. He's got to drive and kick it at a time or two because he's driving into traffic almost every single time, forcing up something that has no chance of going in. That's something that's got to change between now and the Big 12 tournament if they want to have any type of success in Kansas City. But since it is senior night, I do want to get your thoughts on the guys that did walk tonight. Kirk Kriisa, Jesse Edwards, Cook, Quinn Slazinski, Pat Sumnick. Who was the sixth one? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head here. But basically the seniors. Your thoughts on those guys and their impact, even though it was quite a disappointing year at 9-21 as of tonight.
It's weird. We live in the transfer portal world. You only get them for a year, and you wish you
Yeah,
could at least have them one more year. Especially guys like Kerr, that's just so animated on the court. He's fun. He does a lot of jawing to the referees, a little bit of trash talk here and there. Try to get some people in. Got a technical tonight by messing around. Got a technical on TCU by kind of getting him in on that one. So Quinn, obviously, another one. Love to see Edwards another year, but it goes by so fast with these guys. I know Quinn's trying to get another year of eligibility, whether that's here or somewhere else. It's hard to tell because I think he's only like a game off is what they're contesting because he only
yeah,
played 7 games last year. So I think that he was like a game off or something from a red shirt, a medical red shirt. So I think he's trying. Kirk Reese still has another year of eligibility. I don't know what that looks like for him as far as financially, whether it's better for him to play overseas or play at the college level, depending on who wants to pay for him. And Pat Sumnick still has another year of eligibility. So just kind of see where those guys decide to kind of further their career at. But yeah, I just kind of wish you had these guys. As far as impact on the program, no idea. These guys came together at a time West Virginia was reeling, obviously with Hogan's resignation. And they chose West Virginia, and they've stuck through. They have played hard throughout the season. They're
yeah.
just not very good at
Hats off to them
defense.
for that.
Yeah, hats off to them.
I mean,
I know Edwards after the game said he learned more. He learned more here, of course, with everything that happened. He learned more here about just all aspects of the game, and he said, despite the record, this was the best year he's ever had, most fun he's ever had. So West Virginia tends to have that effect on people. Eric
yeah,
Stevenson still comes to games here as well. Looks like he's going to play for West Virginia. So these guys come in, they fall in love with it. You just wish they could get the message. A lot of these guys, you wish they got the message in high school, or obviously they had to get a look from West Virginia as well. But wish they could have been here a little earlier.
yeah. I mean, I get it. It's been a rough season. Again, 9-21. I think 4-13. I think now in conference play. But I mean, if you think about last summer, Jesse Edwards, Kirk Kriisa, those guys, when that portal opened back up for that 30 days, if they don't commit to staying here, I mean, this thing could have been a whole hell of a lot worse than it already is. So hats off to those guys for sticking through it and not giving up and not causing any friction. I mean, there could have been a lot of frustration and they could have kind of turned on each other. That hasn't been the case. They have stuck together all the way. And who knows what we'll see in the future. But hats off to those guys for sure. And yeah, I mean, it sucks. It's a different era of college basketball where you're not going to get you may have it here and there, but it's going to be rare when you get two guys that come in as freshmen like Javon Carter and Daxter Miles did and build a legacy for 4 years.
Josiah Harris may be on his
Yeah,
way.
he might be. I
That
mean,
Seth Wilson, Pat Summick, these 6 around.
yeah.
So there's still guys.
Josiah Harris will have 10 degrees by the time he's done, too. So.
Probably, probably. So, funny thing is, before the ruling came, they can transfer every year now or whatever it is. Because he graduated this December, he could have actually transferred after his freshman season, and then after he graduated, could transfer the next 3 years. So he could have legitimately
Incredible.
played for a different team every year.
It's insane. I don't know how he does it. 93-81. West Virginia falls on senior night to TCU, and we will be back here on Saturday to recap West Virginia and Cincinnati for the final.
So we can just go ahead and do that now.
Yeah, or just maybe we can switch the graphics.
They haven't won on the road, and they can't play defense. So I'm going to go on a limb here and say that's the game now.
Play the points for Cincinnati.
Post game show is they didn't play defense. So probably going to turn it over a lot too.
Probably so. So again, 93-81 your score tonight. Again, we'll be back here Saturday. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube at Mountaineers Now and give us a like there as well, and follow us on Twitter or X at the same handle. For Christopher Hall, I'm Schuyler Callihan. You've been watching the Mountaineers Now post game show presented by Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning.